Welcome, everyone, back to Voices of the Millennials. You already know every week that we join here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. We talk about issues of importance to the millennial generation. And I am your host, ELLE DE LYON, or ELLE DE LYON. And tonight I have another guest for another elevated conversation. And we're going to be talking all about breakdowns and how they lead to breakthroughs. And today our guest is going to be Kamani Peter, and I really want to let y'all know a little bit about Kamani before he comes in and joins us on the show today. So Kamani Peter is a social entrepreneur and designer. He studied industrial design at Carleton University for 3 years and received his Bachelor of Design at OCAD University. He started his first business at the age of 20 and believes that entrepreneurship is empowering in a way that allows people to create opportunities for themselves. I agree with that one. It's for that reason that he seeks to inspire and support entrepreneurial thinking in others, especially for those from marginalized communities. And I really am excited to be able to speak to Kamani today about entrepreneurship, product management, and project management. These are some things that he is an expert in and has studied and has found a way to bring that into a space that I work out of a lot, which is the creative space, creative art space, community arts, and really helping to build bridges and fill gaps and smooth out paths for emerging artists and people who work in the entertainment industry, especially. So really, really excited to be able to speak with Kamani. And you can even see him over here on my left in my right on my virtual background, for the ones who are watching right now. So I do want to say hello and good night, peace and blessings to everyone who is watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Thank you for joining us. We really, really appreciate you. And for everyone that's listening in over 135 countries right now, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are going to be having an amazing conversation. I thought that I would also, we're going to have Kamani join us in just about a minute. And I thought what would be really fun is if we asked a few questions to get to know Kamani. So this is something that I really want to start incorporating with the guests that we have, letting you know a little bit about them, because a lot of them I already have some sort of relationship with. And, sometimes you may not know a few fun facts about them. So once Kamani gets in here, we're going to ask him a few questions to break the ice. And then we're going to get right into the conversation about how he was able to use his breakdowns to break through, especially becoming an entrepreneur at the age of 20, when most people would go into their first, corporate job or working for someone else. Kamani decided to take that to being an entrepreneur. So I'm really excited to hear how he made that journey and what he learned along the way. It's going to be exciting. And I'd love to know also from anyone who's listening at home, how have you turned your breakdowns into breakthroughs? How have you transformed pain into power? Here at Love Bay, we are always looking for ways to empower the people that we bring on to our platforms. And I am looking for more guests for 2024. So I really want to be able to bring you more conversations that you are going to enjoy and that are going to help you be able to experience personal breakthroughs in your life. I want you to be able to listen to the guests that we have on the show and then understand how you too can, maybe become the next Kamani Peter. And Kamani has joined us at this time, and I'm so excited. We were just speaking about you. And what we were talking about is the fact that you became an entrepreneur at the age of 20 years old. I'm really excited to hear more about that. But I thought it would be fun if I asked you a few either or questions. And I like to call this segment 1 minute with. And so these questions are just like, your personal preference. It's not anything to take any long thinking. In fact, you only have a minute to think of the answers. So we are just going to rapid fire shoot them at you. And that way guests can learn a little bit more about you before we get into the nitty gritty. All right.
Awesome.
Are you
Let's
ready
do it.
for this, Kamani? All right.
Let's do it.
All right. Here we go. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Summer. That was easy. Okay. Coffee's it's a no-go with the coffee. Summer or winter?
Oh, summer.
Just there was a little deliberation.
That one was like, I've been flip-floppy on summer and winter, to be honest.
Interesting. You are like a rare breed right now, I think.
It's really that I hate bugs that much.
Who else out there might hate bugs that actually, yeah, that's a good point. Summer brings its own charms. It brings its own charms. Okay. I know that you are an avid reader, so fiction or nonfiction?
Definitely nonfiction.
All right. Yes, you love those technical self-help. I'm beach vacation or mountain retreat?
Beach vacation.
Okay, awesome. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Okay, I have a few more. Movie night or game night?
Movie night.
Okay. Early bird or night owl? This one's tough.
The problem with me is that I want both of those at the same time. Like, that's my biggest problem.
That's me too. Like, I just want to all the time with none of the like consequences of staying awake. I wish that I could stay up forever. Like, it would just like I'd have like 70 businesses right now. I feel like that's why you want to stay up. I'd love to know if that's the reason. Like, why do you want to be up always?
I feel like both of those like offer like just like time to like think, and like the world kind of like gets more quiet. I feel like a lot of times I'm very creative at night. And in the morning, I feel like I'm just able to like be more centered. So I would definitely say that morning's it's just so nice to like wake up in the morning and like, you know what I mean, go and just like start your day off before, you know what I mean, before everything starts, before the busyness like gets busy. But then like there's nothing that beats like the creativity that you get at a random like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Like this.
That was yesterday, actually. I don't know why. I just was up and like with just all the energy in the world, I had to put on a meditation and put myself to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, I won't tell anyone the time because then you'll wonder how I'm sitting here right now. But I'm telling you, I don't know. I like have vampire vibes in my heart. Yeah. So. Anyways, 3 more questions for you. Sweet or savory when it comes to snacks?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I'm going to go with savory.
Okay, savory snacks. Yeah. I shouldn't have asked that question. I am hungry right now. It's like dinner time. Yeah. Well, depending on where you are in the world, because some people are listening to us from like Australia right now, and it is the next day. So, hello, good morning. All right. So, city life or countryside life, or city or suburbs?
I like the suburbs, to be honest with you. Yeah, I was very excited when we moved to the suburbs. And it's just, city life is great, don't get me wrong, but growing up, I used to always wonder, because I didn't really grow up in the city, right? I grew up in Rexdale. So I used to always wonder, how do you raise kids in a concrete jungle? Like, I used to always wonder, like, where, I mean, I know there's parks, like they have those tiny little parks, between buildings and stuff. And that to me, oh, sorry, there was a question in there that came in.
Oh, no, you answered it. You was right. Well, you like the suburbs. You're a suburb person. And I totally can relate. Not a city boy. All right. Nobody get it twisted. And the final question, And this is an interesting one because of, what you do for a living. So I'd love to know music festival or
Mhm.
art exhibition.
Oh, oh my gosh! Why would you do this to me? All of everything that you said, I want to take both and like smash them together. So like
Are you
even the
a
last one, because
Libra?
I. So I would go with definitely art festival, and here's the reason why. I think
Mhm.
that music festivals right now, as they exist, um, don't really fit what I'm looking for, and I think that's why I'm actually doing what I'm doing because I think I want to change that. And I would go with art festivals because I love the community aspect of a lot of art festivals, at least the ones that I've stumbled upon.
Mhm.
Feels like there's a lot of opportunity to like communicate with the artists, ask them where they're coming from, why did they make this art, have a full experience with the art rather than it just be a passive experience. So I'm going to go with art festival.
Okay, very interesting, totally unexpected. I did think that you were gonna choose music, but I had a feeling when I saw when I saw that question, I'm like, "This is gonna be a doozy." So that's why I had to throw it at the end. Had to throw it at the end. Sorry for that one. Thank
I
you for
love it. I
still
love
playing
it.
the game. And that's, 1 minute and a half ish with Kamani Peter and me, Elle De Leon. Thank you again for joining us here on Voices of the Millennials. We're excited to add your voice to this platform. And as you know, the one question that we always want to know here when we're having these elevated conversations is how did you transform your pain into power by turning a breakdown into a breakthrough? Because,
Wow.
you know, I believe that pain is inevitable. You will go through painful moments in life. The suffering is optional. How long you stay down is usually optional, especially when it's
Mhm,
like an emotional or mental battle. And
mhm.
so a lot of us, especially living in North America, that's, first world problems. And we are fortunate enough that we can do something about it. And I know that you're a very, very resourceful young man. So I'm very
Thank you.
excited to hear all of the, whatever breakdowns you want to share with us today and how you transform those into breakthroughs. And maybe we can start off in your early life, like, when you were before 20, because it seems like you always kind of knew what you wanted to do, but maybe you didn't. So I'd love to know, like, in your formative years, before you hit high school, any breakdowns that you had that you were able to transform into breakthroughs, maybe ones that you remember or advice that you might have got to help you with it later on.
Okay. Wow. This is a great question, by the way. And it really requires me to dig deep. You
Mhm.
said before high school. Woo, I gotta I'm like, I gotta think. Definitely I feel like maybe the my biggest breakdown and breakthrough would be like um I would say that I went to like middle school in like a very like challenging neighborhood,
Mm,
and it was an incredible neighborhood. I always tell everybody there was nothing wrong with the neighborhood, the people of the neighborhood, but we were in Rexdale, right?
yeah.
So Rexdale, I went to a school called Elmbank, and it was affectionately called what they called the triangle offense because
Hmm.
Rexdale was in the middle of like three what they used to call priority neighborhoods. I don't know what they call them now, which was what was called
Underserved, marginal. Yeah,
underserved, marginalized.
all
So
that.
we had a neighborhood called Stovetop, a neighborhood called Old Block, and a neighborhood called Jamestown. And what was kind of beautiful about these three neighborhoods is that although you know, like Rexdale and a lot of other priority neighborhoods were like afflicted by like gang violence, this, that, the other, because of the kind of like impoverished state that those communities are kind of forced in. There's a lot of like tumultuous situations and relationships between neighborhoods, right?
Mhm.
But what was kind of beautiful about the triangle offense, those three neighborhoods were all like they were kind of like siblings. So these three neighborhoods kind of came together and offered like this kind of shared identity and protection within Rexdale. And the school that I went to called Elmbank was situated right in the middle of those three neighborhoods, right? So what was beautiful is like growing up in that environment, although it was tough and it was challenging, there was like a neighborhood love. And there was an idea that there was kind of like a sentiment of like we're all one community against the world kind of thing. So I would say definitely, like, again, I don't want to call it a breakdown because I'm not talking about the community itself, but the things that we had to experience and the challenges that we had to experience, those were a lot of breakdowns. Like the
Yeah.
school itself looked like a jail. It was designed like a jail and it was operated like a jail. So we really felt like for those 3 years, those, like, as a kid, I went there, I started in grade 6 and I went all the way to grade 8. So it was 3 years. But for a kid, that felt like a lifetime.
Like,
And
I'm
I
oh, yo, time moves so different now as an adult.
yeah, yeah. Time 3 years just goes by like that. I often wonder,
Yes,
like,
I'm like, how are we
what
here in December? Like, yeah.
you know what I mean? So, so definitely, like, those 3 years really formed a lot of my opinions and perspectives about the world. It made me get really serious about a lot of different things, and it
Mhm,
really wanted me, like, I really just never wanted to be, um, like, just in a situation that where I felt as hopeless again, right?
mhm,
So I think that's where I really created a long-term strategy to just have like my own liberation, from those experiences, or at least feel like I have the power to like create my own destiny. And yeah, I guess it's been a long and windy journey.
mhm.
Um, but when I look back now, I see that I like come definitely super, super, super far away. And like that experience, um, growing up in Rexdale is always something that I come back to and think about, okay, well, this is the reason why I'm doing this. One day I want to be able to go back to Rexdale and be able to make a change in that community and give opportunities to kids just like myself. Would be just so incredible,
Mhm.
because we were there were the smartest people were in Rexdale, the most hardworking people were in Rexdale, and we didn't get opportunities. A lot of the people I went to school with do not still have opportunities, and even like a lot of them have like also, met serious and dire situations, lost family members. Even some of my friends, like, are no longer here because of the neighborhood that we were born in, or raised in.
Wow. Yeah. And you bring up such a great point about, your environment being so crucial to, especially in your formative years when you're deciding what this world is and where you belong in it, to be in an environment that you can see resembles institutions where criminals go, but you're there and you're learning. That must, as you said, been very, very challenging. I do believe that the mind is probably the greatest prison in the world. Like, you can really trap yourself in your mind, and really start to behave as if your circumstances are you, or as
Hmm.
if your environment is, I always ask myself, like, does my environment influence like who I'm going to be? Or is it me that has the power to influence my environment? And if I do have that influence, then what am I going to do with it? And that kind of takes me now to my next question for you about, now you grew up in this environment that wasn't giving, as the kids say. Giving. Like, it was not giving, but it did give you something. For some reason, something
Mhm.
in you said, actually, I know I could surpass these circumstances. I know I could do better than this. You even knew that where you were was not the be all and end all. Like, that's not the standard that you wanted to set for yourself. And I would love to know what inspired that part. Like, how did you have this vision? Yeah, you were a visionary really at such a young age,
I appreciate that.
thinking beyond your circumstances. And I just want to know, were there any influences or people in your life that helped you to see past your circumstances?
Yeah, absolutely. So while I was there, I actually, at that time in my life, had got into like a couple revolutionary books that really helped to just shape my
Ooh,
life and like
books. Tell us
really.
about the book.
There was the biography of Malcolm X that I read during that time, and
Mhm.
then there was also Ben Carson, which is kind of unfortunate because of his reputation now. But reading his book on, he like grew up in similar circumstances, and if for those that don't know Ben Carson, he was a very talented heart surgeon, a black man.
Mhm.
that was performing heart surgeries that weren't able to be done at the time, and really like set the groundwork for other people to perform that. He later tilted his career and went into politics, which he should not have. But so now he's kind of a figure where it's like, can you really boost him? But and then,
Is
but I
he
mean, it is what it is. I read
still
his book.
alive?
Yeah, or he is. I'm pretty sure he's still alive. But if he passed away, it might have been during COVID on some anti-COVID stuff,
Mm.
or anti-vaccine kind of energy. But
Ah,
not sure. I don't think so. I think he's still alive. But
interesting.
anyways, that's a good thing to also state that like like people that are incredible in one area might not be perfect in all these other areas too,
Mm.
right? So I think we have to all like be humble and realize that we have strengths in other areas and other people are far superior in other areas, and we need to kind of like be open to understanding that, like, because yeah, he's incredible, his book was incredible and it changed my life, but that doesn't mean everything that he says is gold.
Mhm.
And then also too, I was listening to a lot of rap around that time, like Jay-Z, Nas, and they were in similar circumstances that I was in, and they were also just rapping about how they overcome all those challenges. So that always like really motivated me too. And I mean, I guess that's why I'm still in music, right? Because
Mm.
I think it's so incredible, like what music can do and how it can transform somebody's life and just get you through the day, and also just get you moving, get you active. Like I feel like other art forms aren't like, you can learn a lot through a lot of other art forms. Art is just powerful in general, but I feel like music is the thing. It's the only thing that I feel like can get you up and doing something
Mhm.
like easily. So I think that also really helped to shape me.
Yes, amazing. Thank you so much. And it's interesting because I've heard people say like the play is the thing or the media is the message. And I do believe that because books, as well as music, it all falls into media. And then it led, as you mentioned, to your career choice. And so, it seems like quickly there was a small gap there where you made this decision from middle school. And then in high school, did you stay in that area? And how was high school life for you? Because by the time that you were pretty much 19, I'm sure, or even 17, you must have been writing your business plan. Um,
So I started my first business at 20 through a program called Starter Company.
mhm,
So like, yeah, in high school, I think in high school I went to a lot of different schools. So I was kind of like bouncing around to different schools because I was moving a lot.
right.
And then I really fell in love with industrial design. So that's the program that I went to study out of high school in. It's a really competitive program. I think like a couple thousand people apply and only 50 get in.
Wow.
So I had to apply twice to get in. So don't give up.
Congratulations.
Turn your
Don't give up
turn
on
your breakdowns into
it.
breakthroughs. um, and then while I was in that program, because industrial design is to like keep it brief, it's the study of like basically product design and design for mass production.
Mhm,
So when you think of anything that you have in your house that you bought from anywhere, an industrial designer was involved in designing it. And designing it means, how's it going to be used? What is the purpose of it? How do we manufacture it? What's involved? What's it going to cost? Industrial designers are the ones that bring a product to life,
mhm,
from the idea to it being in production, right? So that's what I was studying, and I was just like, cool, because I was like, if I know how to make and develop and market products, why can't I just do it for myself in my own business? Why do so I was kind
mhm.
of starting to ask those questions to the faculty in the program. I was doing really well in the program, so they gave me their ear. Um, and I was like, one summer, after one summer, I just applied for the summer company program, while being on break from school. And that was because I knew, like, I heard entrepreneurship was hard, and I knew that it was a big risk, and I knew that only the craziest people do it. So I started my first business at 20 years old because I was just trying to test this out. Like, would I like this? Would I actually really enjoy this before, going in 100% into it?
Mhm. And what was that first business that you started?
Oh, it was a mobile car wash because we just moved to the suburbs. and the whole thing, like our whole neighborhood was under construction. It's actually insane how quickly they developed these areas.
Mhm,
So basically, our house was built, but the houses in front of us wasn't, and some of the houses on our block weren't built. Like some of our neighbors' houses were still being built, so there was always construction, dust, and debris everywhere. So I
mhm.
created this my mobile car wash, and it was a business plan. They give you $3,000 in total. They split it in half. They give you 1,500 to start, and 1,500 as a reward at the end. I took the 1,500. I bought a bike. I bought a trailer for the bike, and I put a whole bunch of car washing materials in it. And then I would go door to door and be like, "Hey, like it's really dirty. You want me to wash your car?" And then the idea was that it's always dirty in this neighborhood, and a lot of people in the neighborhood that just moved in, they were all like professionals who need nice, clean cars to go to work. So I was
Mhm,
like, "Hey, I will clean your car on a like weekly basis,
mhm.
and then after your car will always be nice and taken care of. When you go to work, everybody's going to see your nice shiny car." So I would do that, and I would just basically go door to door. And then by the time I got to some far off neighborhood from just going door to door and asking, I could just ride back my bike with all the materials.
Yeah, genius. Love it. Are we taking notes out there right now? Like, there might be young people right now, or it doesn't matter actually what age you are. The great thing about entrepreneurship as a career choice is that you can enter this field at any age. Like, whenever you have an idea, you can decide, I want to run my own business, and you can give it a go. What challenges did you face in that, taking that on? And were there any mentors that helped you along the way while you were in the program? Were you successful? Like, how'd the business go? Did you make any money?
I think I made like $100.
Okay, let's
And
go
I donated
profit.
half of it because that was like one of the things that I was saying. I was like, oh, I'll donate half of it to charity. I thought I was gonna have a better summer, not gonna lie. But I was like, okay, I gotta stick to my word. A naive 20-year-old. I would say like some of the challenge that incurred, it's honestly kind of unfortunate, but definitely like race does play a bit into these things. So
Mm,
that was one challenge, going to door and seeing people be like, hey, I think this is a great idea, but they don't even just want to spend $10 just supporting a young person in their community.
mhm,
Just kind of boils down to the fact that there's a little bit of like yeah, just like a hesitancy to support Black youth, and it was unfortunate, but it's something that I think has gotten better a little bit over the years, hopefully. And I think yeah, I think one of those were definitely one of my challenges. And I went door to door to door to door to door. I ended up blocks and blocks away all summer. I must have lost so much weight. And
and
there are some people that are like, they're like, this is such a great idea. If I wish my son was doing it, it's like, okay, so you're gonna give me the $10 to wash your car, like, and
how
they'd be
did
like,
help me?
no,
Okay.
yeah, they just be like, no, no.
Oh, and they probably turn around like, "Johnny, get outside."
Look at this young man.
Yeah,
Great,
so
good job. You should do
you
it too. It's like, wow.
exactly. You inspired a lot of parents is what you did to help their children become more, have more ingenuity, so good on you. That's amazing. No, but for real, I really admire, your tenacity because like you said, you made a commitment, signing up for a grant or getting money from an organization or anyone, and then having to live up to that. I know many a 20-year-old that would not be able to, fulfill that duty. So good on you for doing that, despite that it was actually challenging. It wasn't smooth sailing. Like you didn't, people in the neighborhood did not just start pouring money into your hands. Most of the money that you spent, you did not recoup. And so it's interesting that although that was your first experience with owning your own business, that you are still an entrepreneur to this day. So I would love
Yeah.
to know what kept you after that experience or during, what was it that made you say, I'm still gonna do this though. I'm still gonna be an entrepreneur, even though I only made $100 and I'm hot.
Yeah. No.
And there's probably like a million, you probably got the most bug bites. I'm so sorry.
I would say just I like input and output. Like you put something in, you get something out. Like I knew that I could just keep going out there, and as long as I'm knocking doors and talking to people, there's an opportunity.
Mhm.
So I definitely think that entrepreneurship isn't for everyone, and that's what I learned over the years. Is like you have to be. I try to be very like just to let people know what they're getting into. So I usually say the best way to make money is through being employed. So if you want to make money, there's nothing wrong in pursuing entrepreneurship. It's definitely a way that you can make money, but there are more likely ways that you can make money. And if you're, if you're in it to just make money, then consider getting a job. For me, I'm just in love with being able to, yeah, like create a product, sell it to people, see what impact it has on their life, hear them say, "This is incredible. I'm glad that this business exists." Like there's so much points of enjoyment that I get even way before I'm collecting like a profit, right?
Yeah.
So that's something I think at the end of the day, like I did fall in love with industrial design, which is product design. So a lot of the reasons what drew me to entrepreneurship is like to have the freedom to develop any product that I wanted to create.
Right.
Granted, with the financial constraints is definitely important to consider. Sorry, there's a little thing that came in on the
Oh,
screen.
yeah, we have
Um,
guests who, tune in from all over, and sometimes they'll leave us comments, so
I
we
love
get to
that.
see them. Yeah, Abija, is enjoying our conversation. Building your own business is truly amazing with the challenges and all. It's a journey of growth and accomplishment, and I
That's
agree,
right.
right?
Yes.
It's worth
And
it.
shout out to the government of Ontario, because I guess they knew a lot of our businesses weren't going to be successful, so they gave us that 1500 at the end. And to be fair, before that I was working summer jobs, and the summer job grind, how that goes, right? I worked at Wonderland, and I would make money and I would lose it all to Wonderland. So so even though I
That is so
technically didn't make,
true.
you know what I mean,
So
right?
smart. Yo, yeah, I worked at clothing stores. I have a bunch of clothes, no money.
No money. So I guess,
Oh
so
my
I was
god.
like, this kind of worked in a way, because at
Yeah.
least I got that lump sum, and I was like, okay, what did I learn? How did I enjoy bookkeeping? How did I enjoy all of the other aspects of entrepreneurship that aren't as shiny, right? And I
Mm.
was like, oh,
Yeah.
actually, you know what? I actually enjoyed those parts too. So I was like, hey, maybe entrepreneurship is for me.
Mhm. Okay. Interesting, interesting. And did you have classes or workshops as a part of that program that you were in?
Yeah, we had like a whole kind of like workshop, understanding how to like build a business, understanding marketing,
Mhm.
understand. It was a while ago, mind you. Like that was a good time ago, almost a decade. Oh no, more than a decade ago. But I did their
Look
follow-up
good.
program called
Look good.
Starter Company. Ah, I appreciate that. Gotta hit that morning routine.
Right? We'll talk about that probably in a couple of minutes. What is in routine? That matters though. I'm all about the holistic wellness. Like, how do
Yeah.
we take care of ourselves fully? Because, when we feel good, how we look on the outside, it just helps on the inside. Probably best to start on the inside and let it shine outward. But,
Yes. Yeah,
whatever helps you get there, whatever helps you get to balance.
100%.
Mhm. And so, now so we took a journey on your life. We found out, how young Kamani made it out of Rexdale and decided that he's going to go beyond his circumstances and what he sees, all the way to owning, well, yeah, truly owning your own business for a summer, and understanding all the triumphs and the challenges that come with that. And then you decided, I'm still going to do this. It is for me. Um, but then I see that you went to school. So I would love to know what made you make that decision that you should go back to school after deciding that you did want to be an entrepreneur. And you don't necessarily have to go back to school, but you definitely can, because it helps you, I think, to build your skills up. But I'd love to know what your thought pattern was at that time. And if you went to school immediately, was there a break or anything like that?
Yeah, after that experience, I knew that I want to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know what my business was yet.
Um,
So Yeah, so I went back to school because I was still finishing the program. And I was trying to get them to let me do more entrepreneurial things. And they were like, boy, you don't even know what you're about to get into.
Mhm.
And to be fair, like I understand now.
Right? I know. Yep.
Knowing what I know now, Um, so they and like I was a really good student, but they were just like come on, stick with the program, literally, right?
Yeah.
So I decided to almost take a year off, which was what I did was I kind of finessed my own year off where I just took all courses that I wanted to take in areas that I was interested for my entrepreneurship, right? So yeah, so I started to I like was basically beginning a minor in entrepreneurship, or they had a minor in business and a minor in entrepreneurship, and I was taking courses that aligned with both.
And
And I was
you
just kind of
went to OCAD?
no, this was still at Carleton.
Okay.
This was
Yeah.
still at Carleton.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that whole year, yeah, I took business courses, entrepreneurship courses, because I was like, I want to get deeper and deeper. I started to go to, they had Hatched, which was kind of like a university incubator, and they had different entrepreneurship events and things like that. I started going to all of those. And then by the end of it, they're like, Kimani, where have you been? My dean actually, like, I actually got a meeting with my dean. Again, it was a small program, 50 kids, and I was like one of the stronger kids in the program, right? So they're like, where did our star student go? And I had a meeting with him, and he was basically like, where you been? And I was like, hey, look, I actually took this entrepreneurship really seriously. I'm learning all this stuff. And he's like, he's giving me, like, again, he was giving me his ear, but he wasn't really listening.
Mhm.
And we started randomly talking about Instagram and how Instagram is ruining photography. And I was like, Instagram's actually making anybody be able to be a photographer. So now it's not equipment that decides who's the best photographer. It's actually who can like really frame and develop a picture and a scene, and right. So it democratizes who's allowed to be a photographer. So now the best photographers can rise, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, is this happening for music? And I was like, it's not really happening for music. I was like, there's not really an Instagram for music. Yeah, there's streaming. Yeah, there's SoundCloud, but they weren't kind of built to make it easy for anybody to be an artist.
Mhm.
And that's what birthed Loud. I was like, I think I want to be an entrepreneur in the music space, because one thing that I realized is like, I was a kid, like I was a person who was not patient. So the fact that I've been working on Loud for this long is insane. And it was, the realization was, throughout all the different places that I've been in terms of my interests and all that, I've always been sending my cousin the newest music that I can find,
Mhm.
finding music on SoundCloud, all these random places, and sharing them. So it's just like, that's always been a part of my life. You could ask my cousins, you could ask my sister, you can ask my mom. And I was like, oh, this is a space that I will never get tired of operating in.
Mhm.
So that was my aha moment, the
I
breakthrough.
love it, honestly. And what I really love is that whenever I ask this question, one thing that I find, it really comes out where you start to really see how it's actually because, someone told you no, or someone was disappointed in your performance. Like, your dean's calling you in like, possibly to put you on probation or to like kick you out of the program. And maybe, to your point, wasn't really hearing what you had to say, but through that conversation, because you stuck out that conversation, were patient for that, a gem was dropped for you, like, in opposition. Like, I always, something that I'm starting to toy with now is to change the way that we think about the word ops. Like,
Right,
in the Gen
right,
Z culture, ops means
right,
opposition, and
right,
everyone's my ops. Like,
right,
everything is
right,
my ops. But I mean, ops also is like the beginning of opportunity. So to me, I'm
right,
like,
right,
we can transform these things we see as opposition into opportunity
right,
if we come in with that mindset. Like, if we
right.
have this visionary mindset, then when people say these kind of opposing thoughts, it's like,
Right.
oh, but actually, that just gave me the idea for my next book, or like, that's my
Yes.
next business right there.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that is so, so beautiful. I love when it happens this way. Thank you for sharing that story about how you got, you know, a, to this point, because now you're in university, you're starting to feel like, wait, I think I understand what my business is. And when did you make that shift from living in Ottawa and then coming back to Toronto? and deciding to pursue art. I'm thinking it's art because of the fact you went to OCAD, but enlighten
Right.
me on how you made this jump from,
Yes.
yeah, how did that happen?
Wow. Elle, you're so good at this. Like, cause I'm on a trip, I'm on a journey with you right now, and it's my life. But the way that you're narrating and like bringing us through like the different parts for me to like
Oh,
share is just
thank
like
you.
revealing so much things to me that I haven't had the time to just sit down and like digest about myself. So wow, you're just so incredible at what you do. Like you always put me in awe. But yeah, so the next so
Yes,
so I would
because
say the next part of the
being nosy, I'm just real curious about people and how they
Stay
finally comes in
nosy.
handy. Okay,
I'm like trying to put a L, like a spin on Elle de Leon, like Elle de nosy. Like
it was a whole bunch of things. They said I was too talkative, like, please stop talking so much. Stop asking so much questions, actually.
see, and I think those are key. Like what you're describing is similar things that were told to me, and I think people need to understand that there are these different profiles that people have that don't fit neatly into a box. But these people are going to create, your light bulb. They're going to create, solutions and incredible things for your life if you just let them cook.
Yeah.
Like let us cook. We're weird, but
Up
we
them
got something for
dishes on the
you.
kitchen stove. Yeah,
But
that's it.
so like I guess the next part of the story was so the summer, I finally dipped my toes into entrepreneurship. I come back into school all like, yeah, I really am serious about entrepreneurship. They're not really listening, so I start taking it into my own hands. And then the dean calls me in because he's like, "What happened?" And he like again, he called me in to say that, hey, we are taking an interest. We see that you're actually still in school doing entrepreneurship stuff. We want to talk to you about entrepreneurship and bring it to the program. But in the end, it was really like a get with the program, son, because these things take longer than a year or two.
Right.
And we've been working on it because I'm sure they've been thinking about entrepreneurship for a long time at that program. They just had not really implemented it or really taken it that seriously.
Right.
So I decided, okay, now that I know what I want to do and I know that the school's not going to support me, the program was no longer for me. I fell out of love with that program, not industrial design, but with that program, because I realized right then and there that I wasn't going to be able to achieve my goals through that program, which is fine because if I was still the same person when I started the program, then it'd been great, right? So it's great that the program existed in the way that it did because it's benefiting the people that fit that program, right? But it
Yeah.
no longer suited me. I had a best friend who was also very entrepreneurial, and he was like, "Yo, we gotta go into this other program." And he also took a year off to pursue entrepreneurship, but not like me, like wasn't doing it through school. He just like completely was doing his own thing. So I was kind of like, yo, like we paid a lot of money for this degree, so I'm finna finish this degree. Like
Somewhere.
yeah, like you know
Yes.
what I mean? I'm like, I'm gonna make it like, it's one of those things because I'm like, I don't like giving up. So I was like, I'm gonna stick it through.
Yeah.
But he showed me this program at OCAD called Digital Futures. And literally it
Oh,
was everything that I needed. It was everything that I described, wanting to, fuse everything that I'm learning in school to apply it to an idea. They're gonna put me, they're gonna fill they're gonna fill the instructors with people that are skilled in the areas that of the students' projects. It was all project focused. Like you come in with your project and you build out your project, and they bring expertise that can help you further along your project. So I was like, oh damn, I guess gotta move back to Toronto.
wow.
Back then, I was paying $333 rent, so it was hard. It was a hard decision.
Yeah. I went to school in Windsor, so I definitely
Oh,
understand. Like, it was
tell me
another
what
like,
your rent was. Tell me,
university
tell me.
town, like, and what was my rent or my cheapest rent, I guess. I lived all by myself. Well, I lived with a roommate, and I think we paid like maybe $1,200 like for this like
Okay.
big 2-bedroom apartment. So I guess
Oh, that's
we
nice.
were
That's
both
nice.
paying, yeah, and it was like all inclusive as well. Like
Right.
we didn't, I think we paid for cable and internet.
Right. I
Yeah.
feel like I still beat you, but that
You
you're doing
did.
pretty good.
300 roommates though, right? You had mad roommates?
No. We had a whole floor. It was $1,000 for the floor. and we
Amazing.
divided it by 3, so it was 333. So because it was just 3 people on the floor, yeah. Was
Interesting.
it? I don't think it was all inclusive though. I really feel like we did have to do our own internet.
But those were the days though. Like they don't exist now. Like $333. So I saw this meme that said that $100 is an adult dollar. Like dollars is basically an adult dollar. And I was like, exactly. Exactly.
No,
So
it's true.
like
It's true.
where we're at now, millennials, we're at this stage where a dollar doesn't go very far. Like that's crazy to think I would ever get a space to live now for $333. But shout out to the time when it was a thing.
It was fire. It
Yeah.
keeps me going.
That even maybe one day, I think like one of my big visions was always, I really want to provide affordable housing for artists.
That'd
And
be.
like, I
Oh my
really
gosh,
wanted,
Elle, let's talk
like,
about that.
yes, I want to like
That's
own
a
a
big
big
dream of mine.
building and like fill it up with artists. And it's like a work live space. And
Wow.
I know so many people also that want to do this. So maybe we just need to like come all together
Yes.
because
Yep.
it's gonna take a capital campaign.
Yes.
Every year I realize one more thing that I have to do to make that big dream happen. Because like you, there were people like they would see that on my vision board. They're like, this is not gonna happen. Like, why do you even have this? Do you even know about real estate? Do you even know about this, that, blah, blah, blah? And it was a deterrent. But at the same time, I guess I have like that little bit of fuel like you. When people tell me no, it makes me really want to do it. Like,
Yeah.
it makes me really want to do it. And so, yeah, rebel with the cause now. Before, that was that. Now I have a cause. I really want to help artists and people like us just to be able to live in better circumstances, feel more inspired by their environment. Because, yeah, I definitely understand that feeling of just not, your environment is not giving. It's not giving you what you are aspiring to, and it can be really hard. Thank God for TV in my life, because TV showed me like, oh, there's all this other stuff you can do, not only what my parents said or what their ancestors taught them. So very liberating, the media. I think that's why I entered this space as well. And that's kind of how we met, actually, because we were both involved in working with emerging artists. And I think, I've told my story before, but I think right now we can see that we both finally found our calling, like what finally made sense for all these great skills that we had. And I'd love, because I can see the time is dwindling down. I can't believe we're almost at the end of our hour, but we are. And I want to make sure that people know, all this great stuff. It led to this place where we met, which was you were running an organization called Loud Army. I run open mics with an organization called Rise Edutainment, and our worlds met up because a lot of the artists that went to like both events, and I heard so many good things about Loud Army. Like,
oh wow,
every
incredible.
time that event came up, like people were like, you should be there. How are you not there? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Why am I not there? Because I was like at everybody's event on purpose, because I'm building community. I want to support and see what's up. Like, where can we fill the
That's
gaps?
incredible.
And so for some reason, I never ended up making it. It was either like, I don't know, sold out on the wrong day for me. And yeah, so I'd love for you to tell us, what is Loud Army all about? How did you finally put all your ideas into that? And how does it help artists?
Sweet. Okay, wow. You're good with these questions. I'm like, okay, where
All
do I
based off
start?
of what you gave me, actually. It's nothing.
Yeah, first of all, shout out to everybody who like mentioned like Loud Army to you, because I did not know that we were like had a reach like that.
Yeah.
So that is actually
Reach was
incredible to hear. Oh my gosh, it's like we had that good on the street. Like
You did.
I would say, oh, I appreciate that. So I would say, like, again, if we like starting back from the Carlton days and now OCAD. So I transferred to OCAD and I start trying to build the like tech aspect of the idea. But through my experience at Carlton and entrepreneurship, I learned that you have to really like get out there and talk to people about your idea and build community, right? So honestly, it's so wild because I hate event planning. It's not my it wasn't my chosen skill set. I am like very incredible at event planning now, 20 events in, but
Mhm.
it was something that I did completely begrudgingly. I did not want to plan events. I did not want to be somebody that had planned events because it was not my, again, it wasn't my strength. It wasn't something that I love to do. It wasn't something I was excited for. But what happened was, as I started to meet with all these people, I met with over, at the time that I started my first event, it was over 870 something. Can't remember now. And I heard them, and what they said too was like, they're like, this is a cool idea, because what I would do is I would explain loud the concept and then show a little bit of a preview of what the user interface would look like and what the app would do, and
Yeah.
they were really excited about it. But one of the things that they just kept on saying is like, it would be exciting, that I could use this platform to meet other artists. They just kept saying that, and I'm like, oh, you want to meet other artists? Like, that's not what I developed.
Yeah.
But
He's
you
not
got to
an
go with
artist or
but they like, you got to meet people where they're at, right?
yeah.
And I guess I never completely understood it, because again, like, I wasn't an artist at that point in time. Like, I was when I was like 16. That's a whole other thing. But
What?
in that
Oh,
point of
no.
time,
Okay, part 2, part 2. Don't worry.
yeah.
Part 2. I missed that one.
But at that point in time, I wasn't actively like making music or anything. So I
Mhm.
really had to understand, okay, why do people want to meet with other artists, right? Like, I was like, it didn't make immediate sense to me as an entrepreneur, because like, at that time I was taught so much that entrepreneurship was, yeah, about collaboration, but also about competition. And
Yeah.
I didn't really understand like, what would be the benefit of an artist meeting other artists. But what I realized is, at that point in time, what that was like 2016 when I came back, the Toronto like art scene was not, did not have all these different venues for artists to meet other artists. So they were operating in silos and not really getting to meet other people doing what they're doing, and it felt isolating to them. So because I knew that was going to take a lot of time and money, and effort that I literally did not have, because I was in school, so that was my time and that was my money. um I was
Kind
like, you know what I mean? I was like, what can I do, right? And the most accessible thing that I could do to make loud before it could exist as an app was to just deliver on what people are asking for. So I was like, okay, I will run an event. And I also understood that, like, going to a lot of these different entrepreneurship conferences, kind of going back, a very big thing that they would talk about is building community. Like, you have to build community for your idea, for your product. You have to make sure that people actually want it, and to make sure that people actually want what you're building, you actually have to make it with them, right? You can't make it away from them and then say, here, I made it. They're gonna be like, what is this? Not what I asked for. And the truth is, if I had the money and the time and the effort and built that thing that I was talking to you about, it wouldn't have been as successful as what we're building right now with the stream. So yeah, I had the first event. I tried to do event planning. I was terrible at it. I got scammed on the venue. Pulled up to the venue, spent $800. Venue was under construction. I thought it was a huge bomb. I wanted like hundreds of artists to come, because everybody's like, oh yeah, I want to meet artists. Then I send the invite to them. Where are they? Crickets,
Yeah.
right? So so I think around, for the first event we ran, I was like expecting hundreds of artists to be there, especially because I spent $800 on the venue, and there was probably, I think, 30 to 50 people.
Okay.
So
That is not bad for a first event that you're not,
it
like, well known in the music scene, etc.
it was like five, like, honestly, I feel like it started 5 hours late. Again, the venue was under construction. I had my guests were helping me to set up. They're like, Manny, can I help out? I'm like, no, stay on the
Community.
venue. They're
Community.
like, no, let me help you set out. I'm like, no, don't look at me right
I
now.
know.
Don't look at this. It's
Oh
a
my god.
mess.
Honestly,
People.
part 3, because we need to talk about the event planner life, like behind the
Hard.
scenes, promo life, like people
Yes.
don't
Yeah.
know, like it's,
Yeah.
or producer life, event producer life. It's a whole thing, and I want to expose it, but I also do, like, I feel like you were. I'm like, don't look at me. I don't want you to know all my supposed to be perfect. Yeah, that's a crazy part 4. We need 6
Yeah.
parts. We're definitely
Yeah.
going to continue
Yeah.
this convo.
Yeah.
And so now you did do an event. eventually you got the hang of it. You started to become really good at it, begrudgingly, but you did become good at it. Um,
Yeah.
and then you went back, or finally you've been able to return back to the app and like really pushing the app. Well, along the way, pushing the app at all of these events. But
Yeah.
would love to know, like, before we end today, what it has turned into now, like what your business is now and what you do every day.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to just end that story off on a
Oh, yeah, yeah.
happy note.
Yes.
So it turned out everybody actually really, really enjoyed it, which to my like today, I'm like, what? Everybody really enjoyed it because it delivered on what it was supposed to be. Like artists were meeting each other, they were happy, and there weren't many venues for them to do that. And
Mhm.
I had an artist perform and completely shut down the show, and everybody was like, "This is a private, exclusive event with a signed artist." No, this was his first time performing, and he always credits us for giving him that stage. He went on to just do bigger and bigger things, and I was like, mind blown. So break down the breakthrough, like you said, right? Like I was breaking down at that event. I told my best friend, I was like, yeah, I'm never doing this again. And then by the end of the event, I had a breakthrough. It was like, he was like, damn, it worked. Because I started to think, how do we make the next event better? And I just kept kind of like holding that mindset.
That's what's up.
Um,
That's what's up. Fall 7 times, but you get up 8. Like, I
exactly.
love that. I love that.
So now what I do on my day to day still includes like the random many hats that an entrepreneur wears. I have Stream by Loud, which is the first streaming platform that splits subscription revenue with artists 50-50.
Mhm.
So we use unique referral links. So when you share your song with other people and they decide to join the service, we're able to trace that back to you. And we split that listener's subscription 50-50 with you for as long as they stay a member.
Mhm.
So my job now is to share that widely with the world to know that there is another place that you can go. Major streaming platforms, traditional streaming platforms, are not compensating artists fairly, and we're living in a time in tough economic times, and streaming platforms are making record profits. They're doing very well, and I would talk to artists, and they would be like, well, at least I get to have this as an option to distribute my music. They see it as marketing, and they feel blessed, which is great to keep a positive outlook. They feel like this is a once in a lifetime opportunity that generations before us didn't have. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to come and fix a model that works and just make it work better for artists.
Yeah, that is beautiful. I love it, especially, seeing someone that looks like me being at the forefront of such an ingenious design on something that, yes, exists already, but you are finding a way to make it better and make it operate better for our community. And I thank you. My music is on there too. Yes, y'all. I
Ooh,
do make
yes.
music too. And I don't often share it, but when I heard about this platform, I was like, yeah, I do want to participate on this just because of what the story behind it. And I think that, that's a big thing in entrepreneurship. You really have to share your story with people and your why. And that really helps people to jump into your boat and start rowing with you. And I'm really, really glad that we're in this boat rowing together. And I'm not joking that we need like a port 4, 5, 6 because
I
we
love it.
have no minutes left. But thank you so much, Kamani, for
Thank
coming
you.
on and telling us all about your journey, how you turned your breakdowns into breakthroughs, and being a successful entrepreneur and what that really looks like day to day. Really appreciate you on that one, and dropping gems for all the people that are listening right here on Love Bay Music Talk Afrobeat Radio all around the world. That is all we have for you tonight, but we'll be back next week with another episode right here on Love Bay. So peace and blessings from me and Kamani.